Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's Ask the Experts, better known as Roger.
Or Ask Me Anything, AMA.
Or Ask Me Anything. Stop.
Right.
Okay, I see we have a new face. Marty, would you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
I've got to be real quiet. My wife is asleep. We're on vacation and I'm in a hotel room. So I'll just briefly say I'm from Kent, Ohio, and joined T-Mug last week. I sent the application stuff in. So
Welcome.
just want to connect with people on Zoom who have interest in Mac and Apple.
Well, welcome.
And what does
Thanks.
NEOAC stand for?
Northeast Ohio Apple Corps.
There we go. Okay, well, welcome.
They've been around since 1977, 78.
Wow.
So
Excellent. Welcome.
Welcome. Definitely. We need more people. So what's your experience with Mac? Since I know it's been a while, so. Marty?
are you asking me?
Yeah.
I've been using Mac since 2006 and have pretty much switched over exclusively to them. I have you name it, and I kind of have bought it. It's the one vice that I have. And I again want to say that really quietly because my wife is asleep across the room. But yeah, so I'd like to get the new stuff and play with it and then sell the stuff that was a couple years back and just keep the process going. So I do a podcast, so I've been working on that. I'm doing some video editing, mainly in Adobe Premiere right now. I'm trying to learn Final Cut. I work as a faculty member at Kent State University and am in the counseling profession. And so my area of scholarship is bringing technology to that field. So
Great.
that's my experience and background.
Cool. Well, welcome, definitely. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I do, since nobody else.
Go for it.
I have a problem using Apple Maps on the CarPlay. That's where I'm going down. I'm in my car. I say, Siri, take me such a place. She brings always up Apple Map. I don't know if any of you have ever been in Pebble Beach.
I have many times.
I have a camera club that meets in Pebble Beach down at the end of one of those little curvy roads. And I did that a week ago. I said, take me to the such a place in Pebble Beach. We started out fine. Got me all the way where I knew which way I had to turn. When I got inside with all those curvy roads, all of a sudden it was follow the road, follow the route, follow the route. And didn't tell me where to turn or anything. And I was really upset. What I'm wondering, is there a possibility that I could ask her to bring up Google Maps and you try that?
You would need to get the Google application to do that. They have their own app.
So that would be on my phone, right?
Yeah. The problem with maps on the phone, they're assuming that your phone is unlocked open and you're looking at the map.
Well, I am, because I'm driving my little electric car. It has a small screen on it that I can watch. But like I say, I've been in the middle of Carmel, for instance, and asked it to take me to a Japanese restaurant, and it takes me to Santa Cruz or someplace. Now, what the heck is that about? Because I know that Carmel's got Japanese restaurants.
Yeah, you have to be very specific lots of times when you ask it for things. And one of the things that Siri does is when it predicts a route and you go off the route that it thinks, even though, like, if you're going from point A to B and you've been there 20 times,
Mm-hmm.
and you're using Siri, and Siri thinks that you should be going a different route. If you pass a turn that it thinks that you're going, it'll say proceed to route. Also, if you go off of a major road, like say, for example, say you could pull into a parking lot, it's gonna say proceed to route. It doesn't
That means get back
understand,
to, yeah, I
right?
kind of understand that part, but I don't understand this get off the route stuff because I made a mistake. I think one of the problems is, and this may be just inherent in the system, I don't think the GPS, it keeps up with where actually I am. It's always a few feet or 100 feet or I don't know what it is behind. So it
It
says I'm
is,
supposed to turn in 60 feet and I'm right at that point, I'm passing the place where I was supposed to turn or something.
but your electric car, does it have wireless CarPlay or wired CarPlay?
Wireless.
That's your problem. There's a lag between the wire and the wireless.
So
So,
if I were to use a cable, it might work better.
yes.
I will
I
try
know-
that. Thank you.
I know the wireless CarPlay that I have in my car, there was an adjustment I was able to make for how many milliseconds for the delay, and I set it to 1, and it fixed all my delay problems.
Did it really? So where did you find this adjustment?
I have a third-party adapter that I
I
use that
see,
has
okay.
software with firmware they set up.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anybody else have any questions?
Marty, I just, and I don't know if you're watching the chat on the side of the screen there. There's a message for you.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. Actually, my wife graduated from Penn State in library science. And is now retired. We arrived at Kent in 2000.
Where are you from originally?
Oh, all over the place. I worked in radio, so we bounced around the map. But I grew up in Chicago, which is why I'm wearing the Cubby blue right now. And although they're having a terrible, well, not a bad season, they're having a season. But I grew up in Chicago and then moved to Central Illinois, then South Carolina, then Ocean City, Maryland, and
I loved it there.
then Georgia. Then yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Or is it gonna be a quiet evening?
Marty,
I have another one. Go ahead.
Marty, just are you familiar with the event MacStock?
Yes, he just told me to be quiet. I'm going to be presenting at MacStock.
Oh, great. Well, Bob and I will see you there.
So I guess my other problem has to do with my Apple Studio monitors. I have 2 of them. I bought one right at the same time I got my new M1 Ultra. The other one I added after I saw what nice color that first one had. As a photographer and a lover of color, I just couldn't pass it up. In fact, I just got a new calibration system from Spider yesterday, and it's just doing marvelous things. Anyways, when I first hooked up that second monitor, I wanted the first one, I just moved to the left and I put the new one on the right. Okay. All of a sudden, the one on the right, which was the second one I'd purchased, was now monitor number 1. And the one on the left that was the older was monitor number, no, that's right. But the problem is that now I've set up my wallpapers and I've set up my screensaver. I think as of the last update for Ventura, when it goes to sleep, the one on the left goes to sleep. I mean, it's black, except for right in the middle, it says no photos, which I'm assuming means nothing to use for the screensaver. The one on the right keeps on going. Everything's just nice. Any way I can straighten that up, because I'm afraid I'm going to end up with a computer with a burned out no photos words in the middle of it.
Have you gone to the display settings in Ventura
Yep.
and you set the arrangement? So which one is the boot
Well,
display?
I thought I did, but it's that's why I say, Kevin, it's just not, doesn't seem like it's doing what I'm telling it to do.
Okay, do you know how to tell it which is the main one, not right or left, but which is the main monitor and which is your
Sure.
secondary monitor?
It's in the display settings, isn't it?
Well, no, what you do is, are you on that machine now?
Yes.
Go into your display, into your system settings to displays and click on arrange.
Okay.
Okay, you see how you have your two displays, how one of them has a gray bar on the top?
Right.
That is the one with the gray bar is your main display.
And that's the one on the left, and that's the one that goes to sleep without any screensaver.
Okay, try putting it to the right just one time, see if that changes it.
You mean move the toolbar?
Yeah, just the menu bar that's up on top.
Yeah.
Okay, and then put your machine to sleep. Don't do it now. Put your machine to sleep and then go back in there and then move it to the left. So you're kind of fooling the system into
Okay.
making sure that that the setting is correct by taking the main setting off and then putting the main setting back on.
Let me try that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that suggestion.
Okay,
I'll try that between meetings.
sounds good. And if you have questions, Jerry, you could always either text or email me. So I'm always available.
Well, I really appreciate you being around. You've helped me out a lot. That's why I plunked down the money to become a member.
Cool.
Plus the fact that you've had some good speakers too, some good subjects you follow. You know, there was a fellow that had a question in the chat or in the blog about what was he wanted to copy something that was very large or something. He was looking for a scanner, a very large scanner.
That was Tony.
Was he ever able to get that problem solved?
Yeah, we were able to do it using FedEx Kinko's has larger scanners, so
Oh, okay.
we're able to use theirs.
Okay. No, I suggested maybe using a camera as opposed to a scanner, but
Yeah, I've done that before. Set up a tripod with a camera on it to make and had marks to put stuff in the same place so it was all the same size.
yeah, that's one of the problems, just making sure it's level. So each corner is the same distance from the corner that you're scanning. But back in the old days, before I had a scanner, that's how I did it.
One of these days, these flatbed scanners are going to become obsolete. I know mine is, God, probably 20 years old at least.
Kevin, do you use view scan? Is that the name of it? Or
I got a copy of ViewScan back in around 98, 99 when it was $70 for a lifetime license. And I used that, and there was another third party, like a Ghost Print scanner that I used for a while. But ViewScan works great. And all my equipment image capture actually sees it. So
I like view scan too. Works very well for me.
I like it. It has a lot of features which are nice, and most of my scanning is done on a little ScanSnap portable scanner. It just supports just anything, and I put it in and then I put it away.
Mhm.
Barry, I do a significant amount of photography for artists, taking photographs of their paintings
Mhm.
and then processing the image and sending the images to them so they can make prints from those. And the tough part is dealing with the keystoning, as you were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
And I've learned how to do that quickly and easily in Photoshop. And that's something that I could demonstrate if there are enough people who are interested in seeing how to do that and have Photoshop. You can do it in other applications, but it's a lot more fiddly. And then once you get it to where you want it to be, then I've learned that you have to go back and compare it to the size of the original. I had an artist call me up once and say, this photo that you taken of my cat, let's say, the eyes are oval, and yet when I painted them, they were round. And that's because I didn't change the,
Didn't have the same
ratio.
aspect ratio, huh?
I didn't have the right aspect ratio, and I didn't realize that I had either squished it or stretched it one way or another. But that's that I can do in Photoshop as well. And I'm sure that can be done in Affinity Photo and other photographic editors as well. But I've been doing it for so many years in Photoshop that, you know, they're getting my $10 a month for Photoshop, and probably will until I either can't see anymore due to poor eyesight or because my eyes are always closed and I'm pushing up daisies.
Freeze us all.
Well, I used to use Photoshop to straighten things up, like tip buildings, you know, in wide angle with the wide angle lens. My panoramas that I made sometimes were a little goofy. But I've started most of my panoramas now I make with Lightroom Classic. And it does a pretty good job by itself.
It does. Lightroom Classic does a good job, but they just don't do that. Let's straighten everything up and get the aspect ratio correct, as well as it happens in Photoshop.
Perspective.
Well, see, so I'm putting together pictures. I mean, I'm actually making a panorama out of several camera images. And as I say, the Lightroom Classic software will put all those things together. And there's a little setting in there where you can ask it to make it square, and it'll make it square. And it does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it does. Are there any other questions for the group? Or does everybody know everything already?
Or they can't remember everything they were going to ask.
Of course, there is that problem.
There is that problem.
I don't know what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can tell you what happened in my sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, the problem of old age.
What?
The problem of old age.
It's either the gray hair or the lack of hair.
Right.
I have a map question.
Go
ahead,
for it.
Luis.
Last week I went from my home to the bank using the map. And today I was in the same street, and I'm trying to go from the dentist to the map, just typing the address. and it's sending me to another place. So I tried 3 or 4 times, and I finally, I think I know more or less where it is, so I had to guess where I was going. So I don't know what was happening with the bank. With the, whether it's the, I know the bank moved recently, so I don't know if they haven't updated all the data. But I couldn't get to the bank, even though I had the right address. And last week I was able to go from home to the bank, but today I was in the same, on the same road, and I couldn't get there. The
Do you
map,
have Apple, do you have Apple CarPlay, Luis?
no, I have, what do you call that? Can't remember now.
Absolutely.
Garmin, maybe?
It wouldn't be the first time that the database is wrong.
I know yesterday I was going to a place up in Vale. Actually way past Rita Ranch on Houghton. And I was asking Siri for directions there, and for 20 minutes it would time out before giving me directions. I tried like 10 times, and then I waited about 10, 15 minutes later, and finally it was able to give me directions. So I think Apple has been having problems with their services lately, and that may be a big part of it.
I had Waze.
Yeah, Waze is a totally different system than the Apple system.
Okay.
That's a crowdsourced navigation system.
And unless it was resold, it's part of Google, or it's part of Alphabet.
You know, the other day was on the news, a lady ended up in the water following the direction of the telephone to the map, following a map, and didn't realize taking the direction, and it's in the water. She had to be saved.
The best story I have about that, I was living on the East Coast. I had an iPhone 2, I think it was, or a 3. And I was using the maps on traveling to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And the map program said, get off the next exit, make a right, go up a mile, make a right, go up a mile, make a right, go up a mile, make a right. It was basically putting me in a circle. After you made like your 4th right, you're back on the same road you were back on. And it said, make another right.
Oh, man.
And the other thing, there are a lot of constructions around Tucson now. Is that going to be updated? Because today I was going in a place and the whole thing is blocked.
If you use Apple Maps, it's updated on a regular basis, like on
Okay.
I-10 and Ina Road area, there's construction. So they updated the maps for the construction there.
Okay.
Don't count on it being updated the day that you want it to go through that area.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it usually takes several days
Yeah.
before all the updates make their way through the system. So you ought to approach it if you know there's construction, or if you can see there's construction because of using your eyes. Just don't trust what you get out of the computer 100%. Stop and think. We used to do this without those damn computers at all.
Paper maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the Rand McNally atlases that we used to have.
I've still
yeah.
got one in my car.
Remember when you could get good maps at a gas station?
For free.
Somebody would come out and pump the gas into your car and say, would you like me to check the oil, and how's your tire pressure, sir?
That was back in the
can
days when they said
remember
real
that.
men don't use maps.
That's how they could afford to keep maps in stock.
And they don't ask for directions either.
My wife and I have been hunting wildflowers the last month or so here in California. And the map's great. In the car is great. And I use Garmin in my van. works very, very well, but if you want to see a large area, it's pretty hard to look at. So I went down to AAA and got some paper maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that happened today too is my telephone shut down because it was too hot. It stopped working because it's too hot. So it's good to have. I usually when I go in an area that I don't know, I print more or less where I'm going to when I'm going on vacation or something. But I never seen that. You know, having the telephone there and the heat. Maybe it was 100 degrees inside the car. So the telephone said, I shut down all the applications. I can't handle it.
Do you have an iPad?
No, no, I have a Samsung. I need to switch from Samsung to
Well,
an Apple phone.
Samsung will work too, but a little bigger screen makes a lot of difference too sometimes.
Yeah, Luis, do you have a mount that you mount your phone in the car?
Yeah.
What they do for the iPhones and what I ended up having to get, because I've had that problem several times, when you're using GPS and if it's plugged in, it overheats. So they sell a MagSafe mount that actually has a cooler in it.
Oh,
So it actually cools the phone down while it's charging, so the phone doesn't overheat. Ever since I got that in the car, even in the weather that we're having now, I've had no problems with it.
I had the air conditioning on. I guess it wasn't enough.
Well, what happens is the mounts that you have, they're sitting in the car with the windows up. Those mounts get hot. Then you put your phone in it, that heat transferred from the mount to the phone,
Okay.
and that's part of the problem that overheats the phone.
You might try looking for a mount that clips onto the vent. And so the air conditioning blows right on the back of the mount.
That's a good
Okay.
idea.
Thing is though, keep your phone out of direct sunlight. Because being dark with glass, particularly if you put it on the glass, you know, you'll get that thermal warning really quickly, you know, in the bright sun.
Well, that's another problem with my eyes too. A lot of times if you go when the light is up there, I can't see anything. When I'm looking at the map, I need to put like a piece of paper on top of it. A paper on top of the map to create a shadow so I can see where I'm going to.
I know what you need, Luis. You need to buy a car with Apple CarPlay, and then you can keep the phone down in the center console, and you get a big screen.
Or do a third party thing like Kevin's doing.
Well, my car is
I
running.
have CarPlay built into the phone, but I'm sorry, CarPlay's built into the car. I just have a wireless adapter between the two.
That's another solution. But Kevin, doesn't MagSafe heat up the phone anyway, just by the nature of it?
Yeah, that's part of the problem also. So that's why having one with the cooling technology in it has really helped. So I haven't had a cooling issue in the last 2 months.
Yeah, I wonder if, I don't know if you or Tony have actually looked at the thermal impact of MagSafe, if it's even on the map. But I mean, just the nature of the magnetic transfer and everything like that. It seems to.
I can definitely tell it heats things up.
Okay.
Would you discourage using a MagSafe in an automobile because of that reason, or?
Oh, you could use it in a car with no problem. It's just that it depends on which MagSafe you're using. If you're using a full power one, 15 watts, then it will get hot. But they do make some MagSafe mounts that only use 5 watts, and those don't get as hot. But they take longer to charge.
I will also comment that charging your battery heats it up.
Yeah, I had that plugged.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
There is an internal resistance, and so there is a conversion, and so there is always some heat, no matter how you charge your battery. MagSafe does spread it out across most of the back, but the battery itself will also heat up a little bit when you're charging it.
So there isn't a significant difference whether I use a cable or a MagSafe, huh?
there is a difference. The cable actually can make the battery itself heat up more because you can get more charge going in. If you use a 10-watt charger, then it's pretty close to MagSafe. MagSafe does have some inefficiency with the coil coupling that causes a little bit of heat.
If you have a car that has Wi-Fi, Apple CarPlay, can you plug it in and don't use Wi-Fi, but use the wire going to CarPlay?
Yes, usually.
Okay.
If
Because
you
my car has CarPlay, but not wireless CarPlay. And my personal preference is that's what I like. Because whenever I get someplace, the phone's charged up. It's not drained, it's charged up. And, if I get out to go to the grocery store, I unplug the phone, I put it in my pocket or my holster. And when I get back to the car, the first thing I do is plug it back in. And that way, if I've left it someplace, I figure it out right away.
Yeah, and
So-
the way I have it in my car is I have a MagSafe charger stand, and I drop it in the stand, and then I have a wireless CarPlay. So when I leave the car, I just grab the phone. This way I don't have to deal with the cable plugging it in, plugging it out. And just a different way of doing it.
Okay.
And the newer batteries now don't go over 80%, right? So there used to be a problem with frequently plugging in your phone every time you got in the car, because you would decrease the life of the battery. But I think in the past, how often, maybe the past 2 models, 3 models.
Well,
At
that
some
doesn't
point,
matter,
Apple
that
addressed
doesn't
it.
matter anymore, does it? Because we all
Yeah, it
buy a
shouldn't.
brand new phone every fall, right?
Yeah, right.
And your credit card, Bob.
I'm still on a 13.
I'm on a 10.
I'm on a 12.
Yeah, no, mine's 12 too. I got a very nice little clock radio or clock about this big that is exactly the same size as the phone. And you put the phone down on the top of it and it charges. But they also, for some reason, who knows why they do this, they built in a little thermometer so that you can see the time and the temperature. Well, do you really need to know what the temperature of your bedroom is? But the thing that's interesting is that when you put the phone on there, after about an hour or so, it's like 85, 86 degrees. So it's proof that the phone does warm up while it's charging.
Sounds like they put the sensor in the wrong location.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Why would you do that?
I got a question.
Go for it.
When I look at the calendar on my different iPads, some of them are great. I don't know if you can see this. There's a lot of information on the screen. But other iPad, the only thing I get is dots to show there's something happening that day, but I don't know what it is unless I touch the dot and get the details. I can't find a setting for how much information goes onto the calendar screen.
It looks like to me one of those is an iPhone 4 or an iPhone SE with a smaller screen.
No, these are photographs from the iPads themselves. I'm showing
Okay.
it to you on my iPhone, but
Screenshots.
So and this is what I've noticed, at least on my stuff, is if you have more than 4 or 5 items in a day, it shows as dots, or just sometimes it'll have a line of 1 item, another, and it says 3 more or plus 4 more. And the days that I only have 1 or 2 items, it shows it. I don't believe in the iPad there is a setting to actually see the dot, whether it's a dot. Is it just a dot and not like a dot and then the name?
no, it's just a dot. There's a close-up of some of them.
I can't see that. If you could email that to me, where I could see it or put it in the chat. If there's a way for you to do that.
Well, I should be able to show you my iPhone screen. I'm zooming on the iPhone. I'm zooming on the iPad at the moment.
Okay, let me see if I can make you full screen. I know there's a way of doing that. There goes speaker. Okay, do it again. And you have to tilt it. Okay, I see dots
That's it.
The little red square.
with a little red square. That's not in. Okay, and that's an iPad.
And then what I want to see is this.
Right. So it's the way that your dates are set up. Because if you looked at the other one, the dates were closer together. Let me go. Does anybody else have any other questions, or can you give me a few minutes to go grab an iPad and take a look at something?
Go for it.
Go for it.
I'll be right back.
And let everybody talk about Kevin while he's gone.
Right, there we go.
Louis, you know the problem you were probably having with the bank? I bet you what happened is they closed your account.
No. No, I can go to the bank from. I can go to the bank from my house, but I can't go to the bank from the same street. The bank moved from West Prince to Capel. I guess they are consolidating. So I don't know if there's.
Louis, forget it.
Remember when we used to have to remember where places were? What works for me, if I have places to go, is if I have them in with the address in my contacts. For example, if I need to get over to Kurt's house, I just say, "Hey, yes, lady, directions to Kurt Blanchard home." And she finds Kurt in my contacts and the address is there and it puts it up. Also, if you say, take me to McDonald's close by, it gives me a list and I can pick for the one I want. But sometimes you have a problem like you're having, Luis, with a business that moved. And that can be an issue. You could try a different mapping program like Waze. And Waze is also probably more up to date with its crowdsourcing for stoppages and outages in construction and something laying in the middle of the road and a cop with radar and so forth than Apple Maps. But Apple Maps has gotten a lot better looking over the years. And it's hard for me to go back to Waze because it seems ugly to me. Now, it looks like we might have Kevin back. Now, are you back yet, Kevin, or not quite?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm looking at the settings in on my iPad, the week numbers. I don't see anything in any of the settings to show what Jeff was seeing. I see what he wants to see on my iPad. Another thing, Jeff, that you may want to try, I have an app that I use, it's called Calendars 5. It's by the same people that make PDF Expert, a company called Readle. And it's a really good calendar replacement for the iPad. And the reason I switched over to that is there was one point when you set timers up or a time in the iPad, Apple thought of a great idea that everybody was doing something every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. Like you couldn't set something for 7:35. You had to set it for 7 o'clock or 7:15. At one point. And what calendars did was it gave me the ability to put in exact times in. You could do that now in calendars, but you weren't always able to do that in the past
Yeah,
on the
for the
iPad.
minute.
So it's also got a little bit nicer navigation, but it syncs to iCloud as well. So it uses your iCloud calendar.
Okay.
So, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
believe it was
playing with
free
the
when,
little iPad right now, and it works fine with calendar. I don't know if that's easier to see. Well, I'll make the picture a little bigger. No, I can't. But
I'm only seeing a white blurb.
yeah,
It's kind of hard with the camera and stuff.
It's not focusing.
Hold it next to your face, Jeff.
I've got Jeff in two places on my screen.
yes, I logged in twice.
No, that's okay. I can see the second one better, except that things are far away.
Yeah, I
That's
I
better.
just saw a white blurb when you did that, Jeff.
Well, okay, well, I have found the setting that makes all the details appear on the month sheet. And come to think of it, it's only one of my iPads that do it. So,
And all the iPads are up to date with the OS.
yep. The other thing that happens a lot that puzzles me, I had assumed that when everybody was logged into my Apple account on iCloud, they were all going to do the same thing, and they don't. I've got one iPad in particular that is very intermittent when I send messages to people who are running Android. They just won't get the message. And yet I can see the message that I sent on my other iPads if I look message there. And then when all's said and done, I look at the history, and most of my iPads have everything, and my iBook has a scattered set of the messages, not all of them. So it's the iBook that kind of craps out sometimes.
Have you changed the settings in your phone? Do you know where the setting is to allow iMessage and an iPad to use Android devices?
Maybe not.
Okay, so if you go into your phone, go into your settings,
Okay, phone settings, yeah.
scroll all the way down to where it says messages. And then you'll see a line that says text message forwarding.
Text message forwarding 6 devices.
Okay, click on that
Yep,
and see if any of them are turned off. Especially the one that says your iBook.
they're all on.
Okay,
Office,
The
bedroom, Mac, MacBook Pro, bathroom, and M. Yep, they're all on.
okay, so the one that you're having a problem with, turn it off.
That would be MacBook Pro. Okay,
Okay, now turn it back on.
turn it back on. Okay.
then go to, on your MacBook Pro, what I would do is make sure that your iMessages is using your phone number.
Okay,
Because if iMessage is not using your phone number, then it thinks it's only going to be using Apple devices. So in messages, go to the messages preferences. There's let me see what it says in there. Hold on a second.
Says MMS messaging.
Under iMessage, it says you can be reached for iMessages at your phone number and then all your associated Apple IDs.
okay,
And the way I set it up for my clients that use Android, that know people with Android devices, I only set it up for their phone number. I uncheck all the email addresses. Because 99.9% of the people that are going to text somebody is going to text a phone number. It's only us old time Mac users that use iMessage, or when it was iChat, that send messages to people's email addresses.
okay. I see two places you can receive messages, reply from, and my phone number and my Apple ID are checked. And then
Okay.
under that, it says start new conversations.
That
from,
needs to be your phone number,
and I've got it checked, only the phone number.
only the phone number.
Yep.
So that's set properly and everything should work.
Okay, we'll see if turning on and off that device helped.
Okay.
That's in my office and I'm in the bedroom, so I can't reach it for a while.
Understandable. Another thing to note is that on a MacBook Pro or an iMac or any Mac, when you're sending and receiving messages to Android devices on your iPhone or your iPads, the Mac needs to be on to get that history. If your Mac is turned off, it will not show the history of text messaging. It'll only show history of iMessages. If you have Power Nap enabled, it may, but I don't know.
Okay.
I only text out of probably the 100 or so people I text. There's only one person that I've texted in the last year that has an Android phone.
Okay.
You know, and he got it by mistake and he's kicking himself in the butt now, saying that, you know, he can't wait till his contract is over so we can get an iPhone again. Somebody at Verizon convinced him that he'd be better off with an Android and he listened to them.
Okay. Yep, it's a religion. You're one way or the other.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I have relatives that aren't in the same religion. So we have to deal with the Android thing.
I've got a question.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I got my new Mac and I'm working on Ventura. And the first couple of times when I turned it on, I could log in from my Bluetooth wireless keyboard, but yesterday and today I had to log in with the built-in keyboard.
Is it an Apple keyboard?
Yep.
They should see it. You may want to double check your Bluetooth settings, unpair the keyboard and repair it.
Okay.
Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had a kind of a same problem a couple of times. I just pick up my keyboard and on one corner it has a little switch. Turn that switch on and off. That seemed to make a difference.
It does. It would put it if it's in sleep mode.
Okay, that's
Another thing that you could do, Tommy, is hit the space bar before hit the space bar once, then wait a couple of seconds, then start typing. See if that fixes it.
Okay, okay. Try them all. Thank you.
Well, the shift key works as well, Kevin, right?
Shift key or function key, any key, actually. Just something to wake the keyboard up from sleep.
Yeah, I found spaces would might put a space into a password field and throw it off.
If it's open already, yeah, you're right, it would. So yeah, Tommy, use the shift key then.
Okay,
The other thing that's annoying is when you first boot the Mac, the Bluetooth keyboards take a while to register. So you're sitting there, you get that screen and you want to put in your credentials or your password, and it's not happening. You have to wait until it's back up again, basically, and Bluetooth is on. I think that's a insurmountable bug from what I've heard, or limitation.
Mine opens up immediately.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not on mine. I don't use an Apple keyboard. Sue uses one on hers. We've never had problems with it.
I'm not